Hello, what is going on, amazing people? Tell me how the video and the audio are working. Can you hear me and can you see me? Two very important questions to get us started. I see in the chat. Oh, let me turn the chat on real quick. Let me turn this thing on here. All right. Oh, thank you for the birthday wishes, Bridget. I appreciate that. Bridget, can you hear me and see me? Can you hear me and see me? We can hear you and we can see you. Awesome, awesome. I have the SETA background right now because we are representing SETA. I have the Florida State Rep SETA hat on. I got a lot of hats on these days, and today we have the SETA hat on. We have about 114 people registered to join us today, so we'll give them another minute or so. Bridget said that she cannot hear me. I see some other people said that they could. So Bridget, check those speakers if you can. Double check those speakers and make sure your audio is where it needs to be. And just to confirm, everybody else can hear me. Put a thumbs up in the chat, or yes, we can. Some sort of signal. Okay, there it is. I hear you with multiple exclamation points. We're gonna get started here in 1 second. Let me pull my let's see here. See if we can make it a little larger. Yeah, we'll go right here. Glad to be here. Yeah, tell me, before we get started, tell me, where are you representing from? Where's everybody at right now? Obviously, I'm in Pinellas County, Florida. Where are you? Tell me where you're at, where you representing today. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. Athens, Georgia, Monroe. And for my SETA people that are on, if I got my SETA board members, I can send you the link to jump on here with me if you want to be on camera. Just send me an email and I'll send that to you right now if you want to jump on camera with me. That is not a problem. If any of my SETA board members want to join me on camera, I am here with you. I have an extra large coffee today because, yes, it is my birthday. I turned 42 years young. And at Starbucks on your birthday, they give you a free coffee. I originally just got a normal one, but then they told me, no, order whatever you want because the thing will be free regardless. So I got the extra large size with some shots of espresso. So I should have plenty of energy for you all today. Steven said, you're still young. I appreciate that, Steven. Some days feel like it, some days don't. I hurt my back yesterday just getting the mail. So tell me how that's young. I don't know. But we're figuring it out together. All right, so let's get this thing started. We're live on StreamYard. Then we're live on multiple social media channels, YouTube, all of that good stuff. As I said earlier, I'm representing my SETA hat today. This is a pre-conference webinar. We got the SETA conference coming up in Kentucky very, very soon. And you know what? To kick that off here for a second, let me see if I can show you. Let me see if I can show you my screen real quick. Let's try something. All right, let's see. Let's share this right here. All right. All right, you see this screen. Let me remove these. Okay, so we're doing a little Amazon gift card today as a pre-conference session, a pre-conference webinar. However, to be eligible for the gift card, you have to either be a SETA member which is just $40 for a year, or be going to the conference. And just to make sure I have everybody, if you can see on your screen, these are the names I have. If you are a SETA member and you do not see your name in here, please tell me so I can make sure that you are eligible for that gift card. Just real quick, I'm showing you the names. These are all of our SETA members. We have about 102 registered, or excuse me, 114, but about 34 members. So I just want to make sure I have the right name. So if you are currently a SETA member, here's the names I have, and you will be eligible for a gift card when we're going to do a little raffle, a little drawing here shortly. So let's get this thing started. So I scheduled this myself, and you might be asking, why in the world would I schedule a webinar on my birthday? Why would I do that? What type of person schedules work on their birthday, right? Well, this is the thing. When you love what you do, it's not work. You truly want to do more of it. So to be able to give back, to talk about change, to talk about helping other people, that's what's better than that. And I remember I had jobs in the past, and I'm sure you have as well, where when your birthday comes around, you would want to take off just multiple days, like take off the whole week. I love what I do so much that I want to do more of it, even if it's on my birthday. And so today we're going to be representing SETA. So let's just get right into this thing. And I got a special guest that just joined me here. How you doing, Mr. Akil?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
How's your Tuesday treating you, sir? Uh-oh. You still with me, Akil? Well, that was quick. Akil froze up on me. We'll let him get refreshed and give him another chance. Just for a little background, so we're going to talk about navigating difficult conversations. Can you tell me in the chat, when is the last time you had a difficult conversation, a challenging conversation? Just tell me in the chat, like, how often does it happen? When's the last time it happened? Just kind of give me a feel for the room. When's the last time you had a difficult conversation? What in the chat? Yesterday, today, you have one coming up. Lou said 30 minutes ago. Lou said 30 minutes ago. Last week, 2 weeks ago, yesterday. Okay, so we're having difficult conversations. Akil, when's the last time you had a difficult conversation?
Probably this morning.
Okay. How'd that one turn out?
It turned out amicably.
Oh yeah.
Everybody won. Win-win.
Man, you know that was a difficult conversation when you're throwing out big words like that, Akil.
There you go.
Akil said we're live streaming right now, so I'm gonna be as very good as possible. No, I like it. All right, Akil, let's I just had this slide up just to recap everybody a little bit my professional experience. I started out as case management, program manager, DJJ, area manager through the Department of Labor, transition director. Then I have my own company at Speak for MC. But the reason we're here today is because I'm representing SETA as the Florida State Rep. And Akil, I know you just jumped on, but I'm going to pass it to you for a moment. Break it down for us. Who are you as it relates to SETA? What does SETA do? What should the people know?
Okay, man. That's so first of all, SETA. First of all, my name is Akil Bektimba. It's so great to see all of you. I am the current president of SETA. SETA is a 8-state workforce development hub. We are the kind of the know everything, be everything, want to the regional association for workforce development. Part of our group and our membership, and I saw a whole bunch of members in the chat or in the comment section. Welcome everybody. But our job is to combine, train, advocate for workforce development solutions and and cover issues and face problems together in the Southeast. We cover 8 states, and we are upward around close to 1,000 members. We have some really lofty and ambitious goals for the organization. One is to bring people on like Curtis, who has his own thing going, but also is a voice for workforce development, is a voice for change, is a voice for progress. And so we have a bunch of new board members that have joined from different states this coming term. And so we're revving up for our next conference, and our next conference is in Louisville, Kentucky, August 29th through September 2nd. We are going to have a huge DOL presence. We'll be sharing with us the ins and outs of what's going on currently in workforce development from DC and from the region. We're also going to have chambers of commerce. We're going to have employers. We're going to have practitioners. We're going to have the whole kind of gamut coming together to work on workforce development in the Southeast and raising our acumen, raising the information, and also coming up with solutions so that we can collectively empower the communities that we serve.
I love it. Thank you, Akil. And what we're also going to do here at the end is hand out a free comp registration to that conference.
All right.
So if you want to be a part of that, so the comp registration will be free. You'll just have to take care of your own lodging. So I email people in advance to say, hey, who would be a part of that as far as handling your own lodging? And I got a couple emails, so we're going to add them to that drawing. If you want to be a part of that, just let me know, and I will put your name on it. Okay, let's get this thing started. You said you had a difficult conversation this morning, Akil. I'm going to keep you with me, and let's see how it went based on what were some of the things we talked about. Just for some additional context, the reason we picked this topic is because I sent an email out not too long ago to say, hey, what type of topics would you be interested in me doing a webinar on, or like a free training? And this one was like 80% of the responses had something to do with difficult conversations. So I said, you know what, let's make it happen. I've had my fair share. I'm sure you have as well, Keel. So let's talk about it. So before we get into any specific techniques, just 2 reminders for difficult conversations right off the bat. Number 1, you cannot control another person's response. This is such a critical idea to keep on your mind when you're entering a difficult conversation, because sometimes we feel if we just do everything right, if I just use these techniques just like Curtis told me to use them, then I should get the outcome that I want it to be. And ideally, you will get close to the outcome that you want. But in the end, the other person gets to have 100% autonomy and responsibility over their own behavior and over their own choice. Which brings me to the second reminder: we should never take credit for someone else's choices. And I mean that in the good way and the bad way. So let's say you're helping a participant, or you're helping a coworker, or your supervisor, helping your team member. Yes, your role is to help grow and inspire them. But if they're successful, they are the ones that ultimately led to that success. It has to be theirs. But then it's also the other thing. It's the other way with if they make choices that are not great. Sometimes we can start taking responsibility for other people's decisions, which could take us down a path towards compassion fatigue, burnout, and frustration. So just right off the bat, just 2 things to keep in mind. You can do everything right and still get a not great response. You can do everything wrong and still get a good response. You cannot control the other person's choice. You are responsible for yours, and they are responsible for theirs. And then the second part is, don't take credit for other people's behavior, good or bad. Take credit for the techniques you use in communicating in that situation, and that is it. Everything else is up to them. Everyone should have responsibility over their own choices. Which brings me to our second part here. Let me remove my chat so we can see. Two questions to remember when entering a difficult conversation. And the first one is, what is my goal? What am I trying to accomplish in having this difficult conversation with this person? Akil, why do you think it might matter to go into these tough conversations with like a clear goal or a clear direction in mind? How might that help us during that conversation? Like, what do you think is the purpose of that?
Well, I think what you're talking about is key, because communication, and every communication, there should be an objective, whether that's something that is, just a greeting, or something that's, a friendly kind of gesture, friendly connection, or it's dealing with a real issue. But going into it, and having that goal, like you said, every communication should have a goal or an objective. What do I want to come out of it? What do I want the other person to hear from me, which will obviously change how I approach it or how I deliver, and what I like to see as a response. So I think it's kind of the tenets of quality and good communication.
Absolutely. And the thing that happens sometimes when working with other people, I'll give you an example, Akil. I was working with a supervisor who, when giving feedback to her staff, she was like, hey, it is what it is. I know I'm blunt, but I'm just going to say it how I got to say it. And that's just what it's going to be. Right now, I'm all for authenticity and keeping it real. But the feedback from that approach was that it was causing some defensiveness from the team members, and it was hurting buy-in. So I asked her, I said, well, what's ultimately your goal here? And she said, well, to get people on board with all this change that's moving forward. So then the question is, well, is the style I'm communicating in getting me one step closer to my goal? And if it's not, we got to pivot. And if you're not willing to pivot, well, then maybe that's not the main goal, right? So you really got to ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish in this difficult conversation? Ideally, what do I want to have happen? And is the way I'm communicating going to get us one step closer there? Is it, right? And then the second question, and this is where it sometimes gets a little muddy, is we confuse our goal with their needs. So the second thing we're asking is, all right, in this moment, what does this person need from me? What the way they're communicating to me, why we're having this conversation in the first place, the way they're responding to me, what do I think they need? And Akil, kind of same question before, why do you think this matters in an interaction? Kind of assess, all right, what does this person need in the moment as it relates to having those difficult conversations?
Well, I like the way that you open it up, with the statement that you can't take credit. I thought the use of the word credit was a very interesting piece of it, because you could have said you're not responsible. You could have said but credit is a different, right? It has a little bit different connotation and a little different meaning. So I think that's important. And I think that the fact is that we have you have a situation where, like we said, if there's communication is only one-sided or one direction, if the other person is not receiving it the way that you meant it, or not receiving it the way that you intended. And so your example with the supervisor, that supervisor probably thought that they were taking care of their people. They thought that they were being super transparent, and they were being, doing these things and putting off this information in a way that was going to try and move folks, and they were going to appreciate it. But when, depending on the messenger and the way the message is delivered, you may not get what they may not receive it the way that you intended. And so the second question here is super important. What do they need from me? If you come into that communication or come into that conversation with that intention, then you are going to, like you said, pivot sometimes right in the middle of the conversation. You may, if you're paying attention, you'll see whether or not they're getting it. And if they're not, you can ask them questions or get clarity. But yeah, that what do you need from me as an intention in your communication, in your conversation, is definitely a key piece.
Yeah, I remember I had a supervisor where one of his staff came to me and said, I'm going to tell you right now, if and I'm going to change the name. I almost said the real name.
To protect the innocent.
Yeah, we'll say John Smith.
There you go.
She said, if John Smith comes to me one more time to tell me how much he appreciates me, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Because her thing was, that's not what she needed anymore. She didn't need an affirmation or appreciation. She needed a solution. She needed an actionable response. So what John Smith was thinking, there's a lot going on and she has a lot on her plate, so I'll just tell her how much I appreciate her, thinking that'll be good. That was not the need. And that actually, even though the intentions were right, started causing more damage than there was in the first place. Because you're not
condescending.
Because you're not meeting my needs. So when you're going into that difficult conversation, the very first thing is, all right, what am I trying to accomplish? Is the way I'm communicating getting us closer there? And then what does this person need in this moment? What am I hearing? What are their needs? And if you're honed into both of those, that can help kind of keep that conversation in a space that it won't escalate to something that's create more work than there was in the first place. So what I'm gonna break down, Akil, is I put together a little acronym for this this webinar. I used to do a lot of webinars, and then people would be like, "Hey, there's a lot of good information, but I can't remember all this. You need an acronym." So here's an acronym for the audience. We're gonna say lend an ear, and we're gonna break it down as empathy, anticipate, and then resolution, as in conflict resolution. Let me go ahead and put the comments back on the screen. Definitely give me your thoughts, your feelings as we go through this, and let's talk about it. That's my dog. He used to be my dog, Mr. Watts. I keep his memory alive in these workshops from time to time, but as you can see, his ear is up, so that's why that picture's there with the ear acronym. Hey, we're just throwing things together and seeing if they work here, Akil. It's all good. That's what it's all about. So let's talk with the first one. It is all about empathy. If nothing I talk about today, you're like, you know what, this doesn't really apply to me, but you add more empathy to your communication. And another way to look at it is just you have better interpersonal communication. I had someone recently, Akil, and this was online, so you know how online goes, but he was like, empathy is bad, and the fact that you're promoting it makes you a bad person. So obviously, his comment was a little more extreme than the one I just did. I'm trying to keep it clean. But we ended up actually talking, and I explained that, well, what are your thoughts on interpersonal communication? They teach interpersonal communication as soft skills. You need these entering the workforce. How do you communicate with your stakeholders, your customers, your leadership? Guess what is a fundamental component of interpersonal communication? It is empathy. So empathy, no matter what field you're in or what sector, it has to be a part of your communication if your goal is to influence change and action. There's study after study that demonstrates this. And the reason for that is when someone interacts with an empathetic, non-judgmental listener, it reduces defensiveness and reduces anxiety. And guess what, Akil? If in a difficult conversation, your anxiety starts high, but then during that conversation starts to reduce, guess what that person is starting to become? More open-minded. And when somebody is open-minded, you have a better chance of planting seeds, inspiring new ideas, and change. But if somebody is closed-minded, if somebody is defensive, you're just going to be stuck there in a battle. People are going to be stuck in how they initially believe. And in a difficult conversation, we want to have closure, right? How frustrating is it, Akil? You ever been a part of this? And let me know in the chat too if you ever been a part of this, where you have a difficult conversation, and then when you leave it, it feels like nothing was accomplished. You're like, you know what?
Absolutely.
It might have made it. And that it's so draining, and you put so much energy into it, and you're like, we're exactly where we started. You know what I mean? So now we have to do this over and over again. Empathy helps reduce that defensiveness, reduce that anxiety and actually move us towards some sort of resolution, which is what we want. Now, there are two different types of empathy when we're communicating that I want to share with the people, Akil. The very first one is cognitive empathy. This is like when you say perspective taking or putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So in a difficult conversation, if let's say you and I, Akil, are having a conversation about your behavior in the workplace or your performance, right? If you're upset or you disagree with my assessment of your performance, and I practice cognitive empathy with that, does that mean I am now condoning or now saying, you know what, your performance actually isn't an issue?
No.
No. If I practice cognitive empathy with someone, does that mean I am justifying their behavior? Does that mean that I am agreeing with the choices that all the choices they've made up to that point?
No.
No. All cognitive empathy is I am genuinely curious about your perspective. I want to know what the world looks like from your lens in that moment. I want to know what led to the choice you made and the decision you have decided to go on. And you want to take any guess, Akil, why it might be helpful for me in a difficult conversation to understand what this thing looks like from your perspective?
Well, I think the word that you just used, it's understand. Before I can give direction, before I can solve a problem, before I can, edify a person or to inform a person, I have to understand. And so I think that's the key to me as far as cognitive empathy goes, is that I'm intentional about understanding what you're going through and what it is, so that we can, and then it also gives an opportunity for a collective approach to solving the problem.
Absolutely. And think about, since this is we're doing this on the workforce side, think of this in any other scenario, right? Like, let's say you went to a house to go have some repairs, and the person who owns the house says, "Hey, I have something that's not working." Would you be like, "All right, I'll get to work"?
Yeah. No.
You're just gonna randomly walk around and try to no, you're gonna be like, tell me about what's going on. When did it first start happening? What have you tried so far? You're gonna try to gather as much information about the situation before trying to fix it, because the more information you have, the better chance you have to fix it. Right. Now, when it comes to people, you're not trying to fix them because they have to fix themselves. But the more information you have from their perspective, it puts you in a better chance to potentially influence new ideas in a new direction. So cognitive empathy is not about your ego. It's not about you wanting to be right. It's not condoning their behavior. It's simply, when you're interacting during that difficult conversation, is have a balance of both of these. Seek understanding and then try to sit with them and consider what they might be feeling. Again, the foundation of all change, all influence are rooted in these two things. If you do nothing else, have this as part of your communication, and it will have an impact on communication. You might be asking, well, how can I drive the conversation in that way? Well, the first one is to be an active listener. I like this quote, they don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. The reason I have the picture of the medical is a great example of this. You go see a doctor, that they've been in medical school longer than you, most likely, right? You assume they're more up to date on medicine than you are, because they're the doctor, right? But if you deep down think this person doesn't give a damn about me, or they actually don't care about my well-being, they're just going through the motions, you are going to be less likely to act on the guidance they're giving you because you don't think they care, right? So active listening is, all right, let me actually demonstrate to this person that I care about their perspective. And then a great way to do that during those difficult conversations are open-ended questions. What would you like to discuss? How do you feel about how your performance has been lately? Hey, what's the first 90 days on the job? What are your views on how this change has been rolled out? All of these open-ended conversations show the person during that difficult conversation that you're interested in their perspective, that this is a collaborative dialogue, that it's not just me talking at you. Open-ended questions show them, hey, I am willing to be an empathetic communicator in this moment. This isn't just me standing and talking down to you. I am talking with you in this conversation. If your goal is collaboration, common ground, and moving forward, this is where it needs to be. Now, don't get me wrong. If maybe that's not your goal is not collaboration, right? Maybe you're just like, hey, this is the policy. You broke the policy. You break the policy again, you're not going to be here. Okay. If that might be the line in the sand for you at this stage. But if the goal is collaboration towards change and getting people on board, it has to be, I'm having this conversation with you, not on you or at you. And that's where open-ended questions come into play. Just too quick, because my background is psychology, I always like to work in a little bit of psych in here. Just two things to keep in mind during these difficult conversations. And I'll be interested to see what you think of this, Akil, is just keep in mind of two different phenomenons. There's one that's an illusion of transparency, and the egocentric bias and perspective taking. So essentially what both of these mean is we are really bad at accurately guessing what someone else is feeling or misinterpreting that they understand what we're feeling. And I don't know if you ever hear this. That's why you often hear people say, oh, that wasn't my intention. Oh, that's not what I meant to say, right? And it's like, okay, but that's because you thought the way you were communicating was being received how you would communicate it. But the reason for that is because you're the one that's in your own mind, not theirs. And then the other thing is we misread how we think other people are receiving messages in real time. In other words, if you're having a difficult conversation, you're giving constructive feedback, and like you see their body language change, or they're not talking a lot, we start assigning meaning to this. Oh, they're upset. Oh, they're frustrated. Oh man, this is not going good. And then once you do that, you have separated yourself from being in the moment and being curious about the perspective because you made it all about yours. So try to put aside your assumptions, your bias, and just really stay locked in to understanding, getting out of your own head. The very short part of this is just assume less and ask more. In your mind, all these ideas, especially in difficult conversations, right? You're like, oh my goodness, I just want to get out of this thing. This is going so horrible. You're only thinking that because you're the main character in your own movie, right? You have no idea what's going on in their brain. They might not even be listening to you. They might be thinking about their grocery list, right? And you're over here just like, oh, this is horrible. Or they might be like, you know what, this is going really well. And you're thinking it's going horrible. So try to put communication. It'll help during those difficult conversations. So let's go to the second part. Oh, go ahead, Akil.
Hey, can I add some to that real quick, Curtis? Please. I just wanted to add one thing, and this is something that I learned throughout my career and improving my own communication, and that is when you find yourself talking to someone, mm-hmm. that's different than you talking with someone.
Yeah.
And so I think to your point about empathy, for sure, and avoiding those two traps, listen to yourself. And if you find that it's a one-way communication and you are talking to them as opposed to with them, then you're probably limiting the value of that communication.
100%. Yeah. And to that point, keep in mind, thinking drives behavior, and whoever's doing the most talking is doing the most thinking. So to your point, Akil, if you're in a conversation and you realize like you're 30 minutes in and you've done 90% of the talking, I almost guarantee you they've checked out at some point. Like again, the body language looks good. Anyone can fake listen, but if they're not engaged and communicating back with you, it's very unlikely they're in that conversation with you. If the goal is their change, ideally you want to keep it like a 70-30 ratio. You're talking 30% of the time, they're talking 70. If it's more collaborative, it might be like a 50-50. Hey, we're trying to figure this thing out together. But if it's just you talking for 45 minutes and then at the end you're like, any questions? And they're like, no.
That's a lecture.
I guarantee you when they leave that room or leave that conversation, they're going to call somebody who's actually going to listen to them. and they're probably going to go off. You can't believe I was had to deal with a kill for the last, so it has to be a with conversation. So thank you for saying that. And Julia says she's guilty of both. Julia, I cannot believe that you are not an active listener all the time. Julia is always willing to listen. So I don't know about that, Julia, but I appreciate that. All right, let's go to the second part. We are going to go to A, and that is anticipate. Any guesses what you think I'm getting at there with what anticipate? What do you think I'm meaning with difficult conversations on that one, Akil?
Be ready for what they're going to bring back to you, and then anticipate what your response. Anticipate. I'm really interested in hearing your take on that and you explaining that, because anticipation sometimes gets you caught up. So it's a little tougher. It's a little tougher piece to the communication spectrum than even the empathy. I think the empathy, you can definitely work on, but the anticipation, that's a tough one. So I'm looking forward to hearing your piece on anticipate.
Yes, thank you for saying it, because when we talk about anticipate, we also have to remember those first two tips. You can only control what you can control. Don't take responsibility for someone else's choices, right? So you could prepare as much as possible and the person still goes in a whole different direction, right? So when I talk about more anticipate, I'm more talking about what you can control. And one really good way to do that is to set the stage. And when you set the stage for a conversation, it helps align expectations with reality. One of the contributors to like people's frustrations and their anxiety just in general, whether it be professionally or personally, if you think about your relationships, is my expectations were up here, but reality is way over here, right? If you ever been in a breakup, a lot of times the breakup happens because somebody's expectations of what the other person was going to be was not that thing, right? It did not align with reality. So when you're setting the stage, you're trying to align expectations very early on, and doing so reduces anxiety, can make them feel comfortable, put them at ease. An example I had of this was not too long ago when I had work done on my knee. This was the first time I was getting an MRI. And before I even got in the MRI, this is what he said. He says, look, we're going to give you an MRI to see if you have a tear. It's going to be loud. It's going to be dark, but I'm right here if you need anything. And actually, there's a button right here. Let me show it to you. It's this big red one. You can communicate with me at any part during this process. And then after we're all done, the results are going to get to the doctor in 48 hours. And then they are going to be the ones that are going to contact you with the next steps. And I was like all my anxiety about what happens next was going, I was like, oh, all right, cool. Appreciate it. Right. Yeah. He set the stage so well that my anxiety went down, and it allowed me to calm and really be focused on, all right, what is the task at hand? And we want to do these same things when we're having difficult conversations. So here's an example for a supervisor. Let's say you're giving a write-up. Any leader has been there at some point. So right when you sit down for a write-up, what are some things that might be contributing to anxiety for that person that's in that write-up, you think, Akil? Like, what are the main ones that are going through their mind?
The stability of their employment, whether or not they're going to get fired on this during this conversation
right away, right? Like, all right, I'm getting written up. Does this mean I'm gonna be on my last chance? Am I being terminated today? If I'm terminated today, how's that going to impact me getting another job? How am I going to pay for my bill? Like all of this stuff.
A whole host of
Because remember how we talked about avoiding our assumptions because we kind of incorrectly guess, and then that gets in the way of understanding. That happens the same for other people too, right? Yeah. So if they're having all of these thoughts, and then you start that as like all right, I'm really trying to get them to understand and coach them up, they're not even going to hear you because all of their assumptions are blocking all of that. So how you can kind of get ahead of that is set the stage. And this is just one example. Hey, we're going to issue a written notice for a policy violation. I know that there are some policy violations that can result in termination. That is not what this meeting is about. This is not about you being fired, not about you being terminated. The goal of this is to help you grow, to help improve this area. Because look, the bottom line is I value what you bring to the team, and I'm going to do whatever I can now and after this to help you excel. Right?
Yep.
Setting the stage right off the bat. Now, remembering what I said at the very beginning, that does not guarantee by any means that they're not going to be upset about this or still be anxious. But you are trying to control what you can control. And there is a decent chance that at the very least, this lowers the tension just a little bit. All right. So we're trying to set the stage for that difficult conversation. I think I got another example here. Oh, the common salary is not approved. You ever been in that situation, Akil, where someone's requesting a salary increase and then you got to deliver the information that HR shot it down?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Especially if they, been there a long time and they have, to your estimation, have even earned it. Depending on what the constraints are around that, the policy is around that, it can be definitely a difficult communication to give, especially if it didn't go the way that you had hoped or they had hoped.
Yeah, for sure. And then again, I know I keep repeating myself a little bit. When you set the stage for this conversation, there's no way you can set the stage where the person's not going to be disappointed. Of course they're going to be disappointed. That's not the goal. The goal is you're trying to create a culture of communication that increases the likelihood that they'll be more open-minded and ready to move forward in a positive direction, right? That's right. And that's all we're trying to do. If you kind of try to skirt the topic or just brush the topic up on, like, just say, well, HR said no, I wanted it, but I don't know what to do. That's not going to work, because now they're going to feel resentful, and that's going to filter. They're going to be on Indeed.com in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? With AI, you can apply to 100 jobs at this time in one queue. That because the raise wasn't there. I want to hear how you feel valued, and we're going to figure that out. And that's what this meeting is about today. Again, they're still going to be upset, but at least right off the bat, we're setting the stage for talk about solutions, collaboration, and moving forward. And maybe in that meeting, they won't be ready to talk about solutions, but once they kind of reflect on how that meeting go, they felt respected, they felt heard, they felt valued. Then when they're ready, they'll circle back with you and have those more detailed conversations. All right, this is what I need to feel I'm on the right track. Maybe it's creating some sort of plan for upward mobility. Maybe it's exploring different opportunities within the organization. Maybe it's giving them a chance to lean into some other things that they're excited about or that they love. But there's some other ways we could potentially still have some progress despite this one benchmark not being hit. So that's called setting the stage. One thing I did want to do is make sure we put in the email, set the stage as well. So an important thing with emails, and I'm sure you agree with this, Akil, is the person on the receiving end of the email is going to read that email from their emotional perspective, right? So even though mistakes I made as a supervisor very early on, is I sent something like this on a Friday at like 4:45. Oh my goodness. Then I met with the team on a Monday. Oh boy, they were ready to give it to me, Akil. They were thinking about it all weekend. So we want to be as clear as possible in that email. And then a little tiny things you can do is, you can add an emoji smiley face if you want to give the tone. Just don't go over it. Just don't go over the top with 50. Try not to 45 exclamation points. Just really try to communicate it in a way of how you would actually communicate in person. I had one staff member that used to drive me crazy, Akil, is the emails would be over the top, like friendly and energetic. But then when you would talk with them, they would be like upset, angry, and stoic. And like it was so confusing. I don't know if you have somebody like in your personal life that's like that. Like when they text, it's a lot of LOL and smiley faces. But then when you meet them, they're upset and they had a bad day. You're like,
what happened?
When was the bad day? I've been getting emojis the whole day. What's going on here, right? So try to be consistent with how you're communicating and written, and all that aligns with actually like how you're feeling on your person as well. So that is setting the stage. All right, let's go to our last part right here, and then we're going to do some raffles. Since I saw that it's already 12:49. Goodness gracious. The main thing is resolution, conflict resolution. What we want to remember in these difficult conversations is I am going to do my best to not engage in a power struggle with this individual, because no one ever wins a power struggle. Even if you make them acquiesce to what the direction you want to go, almost always that person that was not heard and then made to get on board with a certain direction, they are going to be resentful. And there is no one more patient than a resentful person, Akil, because what's happening is they're just waiting for their get back. Hurt people, right? But then the other thing can go the other way is if you get in a power struggle and then eventually you just throw up your hands and say, you know what, you're right. You know, I whatever, just do what you got to do. Now what you're showing that person is, oh, I just got to wait you out. I just got to argue enough where you just give up and just agree and leave me alone. That just shows the person that if there's another difficult conversation to be had, I just have to push this thing as long as I can push it. I just got to make it uncomfortable, and you'll let this go too. So the main thing is do not engage in power struggles. The good news, Akil, you know what the minimum number of people that are required to have a power struggle? Two. That means if you're in one, you have chosen to be in one. It is your choice. It is your responsibility. You do not have to be in one. I can't tell you how many times I've said, hey, you know, I'm not going to go on this journey today. I'm not going in this direction today. I'm willing to hear you and talk about it. Outside of that, you know, I'm not going to engage in that. If you want to reschedule the conversation, we can do that as well when you're ready. But I'm not getting in this back and forth with you if I don't want to. Now, maybe I want to get into a debate with you. There are certain parts of my life where I enjoy debating, right? And we're gonna have a little fun. But if the goal is collaboration in the spirit of change, power struggle actually creates more work than there was in the first place. So some really easy ways to kind of keep yourself out of this is one example of complex reflections. So if a team member says, look, I don't care what you say, Akil. You never told me I had to do all this extra work. I don't got time for your nonsense. Instead of saying, well, what are you talking about extra work? Or we got to do what we got to do. Or I don't like your tone. Something as simple, you're frustrated. The job's not what you expected. You're showing to that person, I'm not going on this journey with you. I can affirm your emotions in that moment. That's not me agreeing, right? That's just a period. You're frustrated. And then the person likely is going to be like, yeah. And then you could say, all right, well, talk to me about what your initial expectations were versus kind of where we landed. And as you have this conversation, they will begin to talk themselves down and de-escalate themselves. Right. Because if they keep escalating it when you're not doing it with them, it's going to look crazy. That no one wants to. Even the people that are intentionally creating conflict and power struggles, even those people, they still don't want to be viewed as the person creating those issues in that conflict. They want it to be masked in other stuff, right? So when people realize, oh, I have no one to fight with here, I have no one to argue with here, it's just about me explaining my perspective, that just naturally causes the person to talk themselves done. Another example here, you're always nagging me about responding to emails. I feel like you're calling me lazy. It really annoys me. Here's a good example of saying, all right, my point is still my point, but I can still kind of affirm what you're saying. And an example here is, look, I care a lot about communication, and I get concerned when I don't hear the emails. But the way I'm communicating those concerns is causing you some frustration as well. you still stuck to your what you need in this situation is I need you to respond to my emails, but you're also acknowledging, hey, maybe there is a way that it could be delivered that could get you better on board. And what this does is keeps us centered on the solution and the task at hand instead of going back and forth with this power struggle that's going to create more work for me than I had in the first place. So these are just some very simple techniques where you reflect and you acknowledge emotion. And by the way, are feelings, Akil, are they right or wrong?
No, they're just feelings.
They're just feelings. Feelings are purely subjective. Somebody has the right to feel however they want to feel. If you don't believe me, and let's say you're in a relationship, the next time your significant other is upset about something you did, explain to them logically why they should not be mad, and let me know how that conversation goes. It's not going to go well because feelings are purely subjective. Everyone has a right to feel however they want to feel. Now, what you do in response to your feelings, that's a whole nother thing, right? You can say, hey, Curtis, I'm pissed at you and I hate you. Okay, you got the right to feel that way. You want to talk about it? I'm here. But if you say, hey, Curtis, I'm pissed at you and I hate you, and then you punch me in the face, all right, now we're crossing the line, right?
It's a whole different thing.
From feelings. But feelings alone, you can always affirm and validate because they are theirs. That's purely subjective, and that's not condoning behavior. It's simply saying this is your emotional experience in this moment, and that can help de-escalate the situation. So boom, difficult conversations, Akil. The three parts we talked about: one, communicate with empathy, understanding, curiosity. Try to anticipate the best that you can by setting the stage for that dialogue. What might this person be feeling or thinking as we enter this difficult conversation? See if you can set the stage in anticipation of that. And then when those power struggles arise or that conflict arises, you do your best to not engage in the parts of it that'll get us off track to where we're trying to accomplish, which goes back to our initial question: what is my goal and what do they need? Whoa, we got to the end very, very quickly, Akil. What are your thoughts as I pull up our raffle drawing?
Listen, I really appreciate you doing this and having this conversation. I would say that there's a couple things. One, these skills and this insight that you provided is not just good for difficult conversations, right? They're good for positive conversations and all communication, I would think, because it's the components that make communication work. The empathy, the ear, right? The empathy, the anticipate, the resolution are important to each of those, every kind of communication. So I would encourage everyone to utilize these tactics or these techniques for all communication. They definitely work for the difficult ones, but all communication, because like we said in the beginning, the objective is so that you hear me, I hear you, and we get to some kind of progress, or getting to the next step. And collaboration is the best way to do that, and you can't collaborate without communication. So I really appreciate what you've shared with us today. So I'm very excited about, always excited about these. I will come back anytime you invite me, and I'm looking forward to what's next. The conference, and I know you're getting ready to do the click the spin and give out these things, but let me just tell folks real quick what they're coming to. So again, we're having fall 2026 SETA conference in Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to be at the Omni. It's going to be fantastic. Here's a couple things that you're going to experience. You're going to experience high impact general sessions. You're going to experience exclusive pre-conference sessions that is going to be hosted by the Department of Labor, which is going to be very key. If those of you have been around, you know that Department of Labor have not been able to engage as much as we'd like them to, and they're back. So we're going to have a great time with them. You're going to have interactive breakout workshops. You're going to have cross-agency collaboration. You're going to have strategic peer-to-peer learning. And then you're just going to have an opportunity to really do some meaningful networking and relationship building, which is really what SETA is about. SETA's foundation, 50 plus years old, has been in that meaningful networking and relationship building and collaboration. So please make sure that you are joining us at SETA.org. I know Julia has put it in the chat a bunch, and join me and Curtis there in Kentucky. Can't wait to see you.
Love it. And then we had a question. Do we know where the spring one is?
The spring one is in Memphis. Details will come out soon after this next conference, and we'll be looking for new workshops. We'll be looking for new members. We'll be looking for things. SETA is heading in a really amazing direction, and we're going to be, you'll see conferences twice a year. You'll see an increase in membership, like I said, and most importantly, you'll see an increase in membership benefits, which is what we just experienced today is one of them. So, like I said, as current president of the association, I am excited for all of you guys to join us and continue to help us grow and make an impact.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. All right, let's do these gift cards real quick. I'm doing 3 out of my own pocket. It's my birthday, and I'm giving out gift cards. What type of world we living in, right? Well, look.
Hey, it's good to give.
We learned at Amazon. Yeah, it's good to give. Okay. You have to be a SETA member. Membership is $40 a year, Akil?
It's $40 a year. Yes, sir.
$40 a year. And then you get access to webinars like this, discounts on conferences, a bunch of really cool stuff.
Professional development, everything. Yes.
Development, networking, all of that good stuff. So if you're anywhere near the workforce space, I definitely encourage it. So I have the current set of members on here that registered. So let's give out one of these gift cards. And then at the end, we'll do the free conference registration. Thank you, Janae. All right. Margarita. I'm gonna have one of those on my birthday. No, I'm playing Margarita. Margarita, are you here? Are you with us? Dun, 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 dun. Margarita, she's there somewhere. Let's do number 2. Dun, 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 dun. We have Lisa. Lisa Moore. Where are you at, Lisa Moore? We have a gift card for you. And Julia, I'm sure you can confirm with me that these are SETA members as well. There you are, Lisa Moore. What are you gonna purchase with your Amazon gift card, Lisa? You gonna buy me a birthday gift? Pay it forward? I'm just playing. All right, last one. Last one. Dun, 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 dun. Rebecca. Come on, Rebecca. It was meant to be. Rebecca, you with us right now? Awesome. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the big one real quick, Akil. This is a free conference registration to Kentucky. The responses that I received was from, and then tell me if you're here. You got to be present to win this one. Lindsay Resin, Jeff Hughes, and Lori Shante, or Lorraine Shante. I might not spelled it right on my list. Are you here, Miss Shante?
Jeff is definitely on.
Jeff and Lindsay. Oh, I see Jeff Hughes right there.
Mm-hmm.
Is Lorraine Shante here? And Lindsay is here. All right, Miss Shante, I don't think is here. So that means this is going to go down. It's 50-50. Free conference registration in Kentucky for SETA. The anticipation is building. Lindsay and Jeff, are y'all ready? Lindsay and Jeff, you ready? 50-50, how you feeling? Did somebody win the Powerball last night, by the way? I don't know. Maybe that's why Miss Shantae's not here.
Yeah.
Her best life. All right, Jeff and Lindsay, let's see what we got. Ooh. Oh, look at Jeff. Jeff said it was meant to be. Jeff, congratulations. Free conference.
Oh, Jeff, and Jeff said, good luck to Lindsay.
Oh,
Jeff is a good sport.
He's a good sport. Jeff, that's either for you or a member of your organization. If you won either a gift card or Jeff, you won the conference registration, feel free to email me or Julia. Julia, you want to put your email in the chat for us as well? All right. Before we wrap up, Keel, any other final words for a set of members, potential members, anything about our conference?
Yeah, I want to just say one thing real quick, just about workforce development as a whole. This place that we are in, that we work, that we have dedicated our time, energy, and impact towards. Workforce development is a common thread through everything. So when we talk about workforce development as this kind of side industry, it's not. Workforce development is everything. Every time you go out to dinner, guess what? You're seeing workforce development. Every time you get something fixed at your house, you're seeing workforce development. Everything that you do out there in the world is workforce development. So we want to very much push that kind of narrative and let people know that SETA is workforce development across the board. So if you're an employer, if you're a school, if you're an educator, if you are a trainer, if you are a practitioner, if you're in healthcare, if you're in any industry,
I love your conference. Well, how do people become presenters at SETA?
So what we do, so first of all, go to SETA.org. You can get all information from there. You can definitely connect through our Florida State Rep, Curtis. You can come through with me. I'll put my email in here. You can connect with Julia. I'm putting my email in the chat. But what we do is, if you pay attention to the website, we always immediately, it's almost immediately, like a week or so after the conference, we start to put out a call for presenters and workshops for the next conference. So please jump on in. Like I said, this conference is August 29th through September 2nd. So sometime within probably a week after that, Julia and Taronda starts to put on the website, call for workshops. Jump in there. It's pretty competitive, but we want the best of the best to be part of our workshops and provide our membership with great materials. So please do so. Please join us. We'd love to have you.
Yep, and that's how I got involved with SETA. SETA workshop years and years ago that led to another, which led to another, and ended up keynoting one of the conferences and eventually became a state rep. So I definitely encourage you, every time those requests for proposals come out, submit one. And even if you don't get it picked, your name is on the radar and helps increase the likelihood for the next one. So definitely keep an eye. And if you
want to serve on the board, we welcome you for that too. We want, like I said, the quality of folks that we have on the board now, we want to grow that. These terms are only a certain amount of time. So succession planning and making sure that we are keeping this thing rolling for years and years to come. Like I said, it's 50 plus years old. So we want to be here another 50 years. And the only way to do that is to have, strong representation, strong membership, and strong board members. So if you have interest on serving on the SETA board, please contact us for that as well.
Awesome. All right, Akil, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I appreciate you being here with me, sir. Live streams, it's just me. I just got to talk to myself, and it gets weird. Right. So it's helpful for you to be on here as well. We'll keep an eye on some more updates for the conference. Follow on social media, and everybody have a great week. Appreciate you.
See you there. Thank you, brother.
See you in Kentucky. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Peace.
You ready? Let's